Tennessee and Oklahoma get set to do battle Saturday night in Knoxville. We're here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game between the Vols and the Sooners. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get going, as always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. We are inching ever so close to that 30,000 subscriber mark. We can't do it without your love and support. Also, guys, make sure you check out our friends over at FanDuel because, as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. As the calendar flips to the month of November, college football playoff aspirations are on the line across the league. Certainly, that is the case this weekend in Knoxville, Tennessee, as the Vols and Sooners get set to do battle. We are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game. Hello, everyone. As always, I'm Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, my co-host, colleague, partner in crime, one of the best in the business, Mr. Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, my friend? Appreciate you. It's spooky season, Halloween weekend. You could argue there's no better place to be this weekend than Knoxville, Tennessee. The dark mode jerseys are coming out. Again, it's going to be a spooky vibe at Neyland Stadium. If you've ever been, you know what I'm talking about. But here comes Oklahoma Bear trying to ruin the party and play treat instead of trick, or trick instead of treat. I don't know. Either way, it's going to be a fun game Saturday night at Neyland. What's going on, my man? Excited to talk about it with you.
We have a playoff eliminator. This is quite literally a playoff eliminator. Like, you may not want to believe me and say, oh, well, we can figure it. Nope, this is a playoff eliminator because you're going to have 3 losses. I don't think that if you're Tennessee, you'll be able to have a signature win that would get you over the hump. I think if you're Oklahoma, there may be a lot of people that say, well, you lost to Texas. That doesn't look pretty good for you if they end up not holding up their end of the bargain. So this is a playoff eliminator game. It's dark mode. It's Neyland. It's at night. And the best part about this entire matchup, in my opinion, Chris Phillips, we are getting the most explosive offense in the SEC going up against, in my opinion, the best defense in the SEC. It's a revenge game for Oklahoma against a former brethren, and Josh Heupel went into the Palace on the Prairie last year, kicked the doors down. They want to have an opportunity to return the favor and eliminate Heupel and the boys from the college football playoff conversation this year. But I'll tell you what, man, I know it was Kentucky, but to see how well this offense is consistently moving this year, you got a special team, I think, out in Knoxville if you can win this one. But also, you got a defense that may cost you an opportunity to do anything in the postseason pitcher conversation.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line this weekend, Bear. You did a great job.
There's a lot of tricks on the line, dude. There's a lot of boogie. You know what? This is a Halloween game because there's a lot of booby traps. There's a lot of bad turns. You make one fatal step, and Jason's coming out of the closet. He's coming with the machete. And honestly, if you are in Rocky Top, ladies and gentlemen, I better see some checkered orange and white Jason mask on the sidelines. If you're not going full out Halloween mode, what are you doing on dark mode night?
Yeah, I think you're not going to be disappointed, Bear. I'll just leave it at that with those folks. And excited to see how the Sooners travel. This will be a really fun one between these two. 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern Time, local time kickoff there. Game airing on ABC down there in Knoxville, Tennessee at Neyland Stadium. Bear, Tennessee is a 3.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 56.5 via our friends over at FanDuel. Of course, the series history, Oklahoma leads it just 3-2. They've only met 5 times in the last meeting, most notably coming last year. Tennessee won that game by a final score of 25-15. And Bear, if I do recall, help me if I'm wrong here, but I believe the last game in Knoxville was the Baker Mayfield game where he came in, beat Tennessee in that matchup. And that was a really dramatic game. So I know there's a lot of Tennessee folks looking to get their get back from the revenge from that game that took place, I believe, around 10 years or so. I think that game was around 2015, if I do recall. I could be wrong there. Somebody can correct me in the comments. But these games have been really fun, really entertaining. Like you mentioned, there's revenge on the mind for Oklahoma because of what Tennessee did a season ago. We've got dark mode. Anytime the dark mode jerseys come out, that's a big one. I mean, listen, playing at Neyland is scary enough. Now you got the dark mode unis, and you'll have the spooky Rocky Top, which I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Cole, the slowed down. I don't know if – I'm sure you've heard this. It's downright creepy if you have not heard it. So,
oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
Neyland is going to be a even more intimidating atmosphere.
It's a House of Horrors on Saturday. It is a full-on House of Horrors.
It's a straight up listen. I love Neyland Stadium. There's parts of that stadium you go into, though, if you enter in the right spots, it's so old, it feels like you're walking in a haunted house. That'll be on steroids this weekend, and those fans are going to show up, show out. That atmosphere, like I said, is going to be absolutely electric. So Oklahoma will have to overcome that and then some if they're going to walk out with a win. Bear, I mean, where do you want to start first here? This is I agree with you. I think this is a college football playoff eliminator. I think even more so for Tennessee than Oklahoma. Like, I think for Oklahoma, I agree with you. If you lose this game, there are too many two-loss teams in contention. I think there'll be too many two-loss teams from the SEC at the end of the season to where you're going to be able to really have a great case with 3 losses. But at least if you're Oklahoma, if you were to pick up that 3rd loss, but if you somehow won at Alabama, Mizzou, LSU, you'd have a pretty strong resume in the final month there of, hey, look at some of these signature wins we got. I mean, if you're Tennessee, you've got New Mexico State, at Florida, and Vandy left. And I'm not saying that getting those wins would be high quality, especially the Vandy win would be high quality, but I almost think you need this more. Like, which of these would have a better chance with 3 losses to make it? I think it'd probably be
Oklahoma,
the Oklahoma Sooners than Tennessee. But listen, the mindset has to be, I agree with you, this is a playoff eliminator. Our postseason hopes are on the line from the standpoint of having a chance in the big picture, in the 12 team. You got to win this football game. I think that's where it starts. And again, there's so many layers to it, Bear, we could discuss. Playoff picture, Heupel versus OU, the standpoint of these 2 programs. Like, I think this is an inflection point, you could argue, for both of these teams. It's certainly an inflection point, I think, for Oklahoma. So much is on the line this weekend, and I think that's going to lead to some wild dramatics. I think a game that comes down to the wire. We're halfway through this preview, Bear. I'm still trying to make up my mind at who I'm going with in a pick here. This game is so difficult to pick. I think you can go either side here. It's going to be a fun one.
We can talk about the status of Brent Venables in a loss in this game, because think about that as another
I agree.
Trait. Again, people say you go 8-4, your seat is still not cooled. It isn't. Whether or not we think the 8-4 for year 2 in the SEC is good, that's not the case out on the Palace on the Prairie. That's not the case for Sooner Nation. They know what the expectation is. They know what they're supposed to be. 8-4 doesn't cut it. 8-4 does not cut it in a place like Norman, and it shouldn't cut it. That's the standard that they have. 8-4 is going to be creeping up on you, and it's going to become the reality because you still got to face off against Alabama. You still have to face off against LSU that does have talent offensively, does have an offense that's making some personnel switches. So 7-5 could be the case. And if you're 7-5, I mean, again, all bets are off in a hiring cycle where there are so many twists and turns and going to be openings. You may have to make a call if you are Oklahoma with a new athletic director coming on in place of Joe Castiglione to hit the reset button. So this is a massive game, I think, for the standpoint of what Venables' status is long-term. I also think that this is, again, one of the better chess matches that we're going to see in college football this year. Because if you told me I get to pick my defense coordinator, just simply a defense coordinator, could be a head coach, could be a current guy waiting. BV is probably one of 2 names that I'm calling. Kirby's the other, but still, BV's up there. From an offensive standpoint, proof of concept that the up-tempo vertical passing attack that we can trust having a simple ground game that catches defenses off of their footing. There's nobody else you want besides Heupel. So which one prevails? Is this a game to where your defense is so good it can eliminate the play style of what we know with Tennessee? Or is your offense so good that you're now forcing Oklahoma to have to turn on the Jets offensively, and they're going to have to go back and forth with you, and it's going to have to be a shootout to the finish line where John Mateer is going to have to live up to the Heisman hype, where the running game is going to have to be very potent, where your wide receivers like Isaiah Satanga and Deion Burks and Jared Kanek at tight end, and then you throw in Giovanni Gibson, they're going to be able to win the one-on-one battles in the open field, and you're going to have to rely on the explosives. Because of that is what really this may come down to. Which of your coaches that currently is calling the shots, offensively or defensively, has the slip up to where the weak point of your team on the opposing side is going to have to go super sicko mode?
I agree with you. The chess match between Josh Heupel, Brent Venables is going to be one to watch. Excited to see what Joey Aguilar does in this game. This offense has been unstoppable. I mean, really, truly, you look at what Tennessee has done at this point, Bear. There has been nobody that has had an answer for them offensively. I mean, you just look at the numbers here. They just scored 56 in a game against Kentucky. You know, Alabama, I think, was able to slow them down, although Tennessee was able to put up some big numbers in that game. Joey Aguilar had a solid game. The pick six was a backbreaker. the play in the end zone where they got called for the safety, intentional grounding, if you will. That's the word I've been looking for. But outside of that, I mean, 34 against Arkansas, 41 against Mississippi State, 56 against UAB, 41 against Georgia. I mean, they have scored 40 plus, it feels like, in every single game, essentially. I would expect more of the same. This is just good on good. I mean, that's really what this is. This is good on good. If you're Oklahoma, I think you've got to find a way, though. Here's the thing. With Tennessee's offense, they want to run the football. People don't realize how much they want to run the football. It starts with stopping or slowing down that run game, putting the pressure on Joey Aguilar, forcing him into some mistakes. I think he's actually done a really, really good job, much better job this season than I expected of him when it comes to taking care of the football. But you got to find ways to kind of do what Alabama did and get him uncomfortable, live in his back pocket, and make him make some mistakes. Because, again, he's going to take his shots. He's going to have to. Starts with stopping that run game, though. If you can slow down that offense, they live in high tempo when they're able to run the football effectively. And I'm sure Oklahoma's going to key in on that. So that matchup in the trenches, this is going to be a war up front on both sides. That's where this game's going to be won and lost.
Tennessee this season actually has more rushing attempts than they do passing attempts.
Yeah.
Because that is what Heupel's offense is. So many people want to say, well, we're talking about the vertical passing attack. No, guys, they're a run-oriented offense. They want to catch you slipping on the ground, fall for the bait, be a Venus flytrap. Here we are. We're waiting for you to go corral the box, and then there we go, 50 yards down the field. Chris Brazzell, Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, who also have drastically turned the corner. They all look really, really polished in year two of running this offense. Funny how that works with Josh Heupel's squad. Oh, they suck year one. They're great in year two. That's the usual norm when it comes to this. So you have got to be able to, I think, slow down the run game. Because eventually what you're going to have on the back end is a secondary that can be aggressive, going up against Mike Matthews, going up against Miles Kitselman or Ethan Davis, or they can take away Braylon Staley. Because of your run defense is so good up front that you're going to be able to make this offense have to kind of be neutralized, and I would say a little bit exhausted when it comes to the oxygen levels. They're having a challenge to breathe because of they're choking, and it feels like that this is where it all comes kind of crashing down. Flip side, this is a very, very known defense that gives up explosives. Tennessee is 113th in scoring this year. They're 115th in explosive plays allowed. They allow explosives to go downfield. So if you're John Mateer, again, this is one of those games where maybe going up against this secondary is actually a benefactor for you. But the thing that was really frustrating in that matchup against Ole Miss was it felt like John Mateer didn't want to play the safe game. Singles get you on base. Singles can lead to multiple runs being scored. You don't always have to go for the home run swing. You don't always have to go for the extra base hit. John Mateer has got to do everything possible to make sure that when he neutralizes the field and he surveys the lay of the land, he's able to pinpoint, all right, I'm attacking here. All right, I'm picking up 8 yards. I'm picking up 6 yards. I'm moving the sticks and putting my offense in a position to where we can be more dynamic as a play design. We have a lot of things that can go benefit us by opening up Ben Arbuckle's playbook. So that's going to be a really interesting cat and mouse game as well, I think, from this standpoint, is can John Mateer maybe not look to always swing so big like he did against Ole Miss, get back to the basics, and maybe force Tennessee to have to start playing in the box to where they get the opportunity. Now you strike down the field and do the exact same thing.
You'll never go broke taking a profit, as they say. I agree with you, Bear. Obviously, take what the defense gives you. This is a defense that should be able to give John Mateer some really good looks. And I think if Oklahoma's going to win this game, they're going to have to win this game through the air. It's going to have to come off the arm of John Mateer. This is a defense that is ranked last in the conference in pass defense. I mean, the opportunities are going to be there for the Sooners to hit some shots down the field. The opportunity is going to be there to win through the air. And their strength is not running the football. Although they've gotten better at it, I think they've actually improved throughout the season. You're going to have to win via the passing game. If you tell me post-game, Bear, that Oklahoma won this football game, I think we're going to look at the box score and very simply, it's going to probably be something similar to what a Cutter Boley did. 330 passing yards, 5 touchdowns through the air. Now, does he get to that number? I don't know. But you can't have another one of these John Mateer 160 passing yards and the offense kind of sputter. You're going to have to outscore Tennessee. You're not winning a game 21-17 in Knoxville. You're just not doing it. That's my big question. I think that was one of the reasons you and I both picked Ole Miss. It was like, even with the game being in Norman, even what I know and believe about Oklahoma, and I felt weird, kind of feel like I was selling my stock. It's like, offensively, is the upside there to keep up with a team like a Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss? Is it there to keep up with Josh Heupel in Tennessee? I don't know that at their house it is, even with Tennessee's struggle defensively. But the bottom line is this: the opportunity for momentum shifting plays and game changing plays, it's going to be there because this secondary, pretty much everybody's been able to slice them up.
Tennessee is 54th in the country in run defense. I bring that up because of Xavier Robinson last week had that big 65-yard run. I think that that's what you're going to need in this game. You're going to have to rely on the explosives. And explosives, again, when I say that, I'm not just talking about through the air. I'm talking about just in general. It could be a 20-yard run from John Mateer. It could be a 32-yard run from what you got in Xavier Robinson or Torrey Blaylock. But I think that if you're going to win on the ground, that's how you win. You win after contact to get into the second and third level of the defense, and you're able to go ahead and push it forward for gain of 18, gain of 21, gain of 32. That's the way that you're going to have to slow this thing down. And then the other thing that you're going to have to do, I think that if you're really smart, if you're Ben Arbuckle in this matchup, you're going to have to take a playbook out of Georgia. Georgia being able to do the death march and being able to slow down the clock and use physicality on physicality. Which, again, I don't think that the defensive line is a weak point at all for Tennessee. I think that Tennessee doesn't have the same depth it had last year, but it still is a very good unit. But there were moments where if you go back and you watch in that game, Tennessee got exhausted and they weren't able to get a critical stop. Can you do that? But instead do it through the air to then set up the run and then convert on third down. If you can get Tennessee's defensive line exhausted and they have their hands on their hips as you're getting to the line of scrimmage and you're calling a play, I think that that's where you win your advantages. I think at the same time, you got to be able to put pressure on Joey Aguilar when it comes to Oklahoma's defense. Oklahoma was not able to do that efficiently against Trinidad Chambliss, and he sliced and picked you apart. I mean, like, that really was what it was. This is an offensive line that is good. It's not as good as Ole Miss's. Ole Miss came in with one of the best offensive lines in the country that nobody was talking about. Tennessee this year, from sacks allowed, they're pretty good. They're 23rd in the country. They've only given up 9. It's a good unit. Can you make it obsolete? Can you make it to where Joey Aguilar is running for his life and he's not going to be able to beat you? If you do those two things, I could see this being a 4-quarter battle. I really could.
I know I keep going back to it, Cole, but I just want to mention yet again the factor of this game being at Neyland at night. Oklahoma's road trips this season have been as follows: at Temple, Texas, in Dallas, which is a 50-50 split, at South Carolina, which was a day game, and now we've got at Tennessee. This is by far this team's biggest road test, and there's just no question. There's no question at all. I'm curious to see how the Sooners handle it. I really am. How John Mateer is able to handle it. Communication's going to be affected.
Yeah.
It just flat out is. So how are they able to handle that? Ben Arbuckle and company, what adjustments will they have made coming into this football game? And also, too, I don't question it, but it's an interesting dynamic. The composure of Tennessee and specifically Josh Heupel going up against his alma mater. I mean, that's just something that'll never go away for him. It's going to be weird being on that sideline, looking across, seeing that OU, seeing that helmet, seeing that logo of the place he literally won a national championship. Did a great job last year. Obviously, it was much more difficult. He had to go into the Palace on the Prairie and make that happen, and they did. I wonder, the energy levels are going to be at an all-time high Saturday night anyways, but you know this team's going to rally around Josh, want to get this one for him. But I think the atmosphere, the intangibles, I think they play a factor on Saturday night.
For sure. I will say this. I don't think that if Oklahoma were to fire Brent Venables, you had to worry about Josh Heupel leaving Knoxville. I don't think he would ever go back to Norman. So that's a plus. I think, again, you got to show yourself if you're Ben Arbuckle. This is one of those games that you've got to dig on down and say that I was hired to come into Oklahoma because of my offense works. Okay, my offense hasn't been working at a high-end level. It's got to work today. Like, you're not – this is one of those games to where you bring in a quarterback, you bring in some offensive pieces, your defense is back to where you want to be at a high-end level. You have enough of an identity to be able to keep this momentum moving in the right direction. They brought him in because they thought that he would be the missing piece. And right now, if the offense isn't able to hum, doesn't matter what we thought about you long-term. It only matters about what we think about you here and now. And here and now, it ain't pretty. So I will be really intrigued to see what Ben Arbuckle is going to be able to dial on up. Coming from an offense that has similar traits to Heupel, similar traits to this vertical passing, but also getting the run game going. Things that are going to really be able to, I think, throw Tennessee's defense off of its radar. If they do that, I think Oklahoma can win this football game. If they don't do that, I think that this is a very, very, very easy win for Tennessee.
Bear, that being said, Vols and Sooners set to do battle Saturday night. Let's lock in some picks. Let's lock in some predictions. Would you like to start, or do you want me to do the honors?
I'm gonna let you. I still have yet to decide, and here we are. I have a thought, but I also don't.
Yeah, listen, 3.5-point spread. The Vols are favored. So essentially this game is a pick 'em when you factor in the home atmosphere and what Vegas factors in and what they weigh when it comes to a home game. Over under set at 56.5. Yeah, this one's tough. I mean, again, it's a college football playoff eliminator. There's a lot of familiarity in regards to Josh Heupel with the Oklahoma program. I think this is an inflection point for Oklahoma specifically. I go back to this. Tennessee's offense has been, it feels like, unstoppable. I know Alabama was able to keep them in check for the most part, but outside of that, which was, again, on the road, tough environment in T-Town, there were some self-inflicted wounds and some errors that Tennessee made that you obviously just can't make in a game like that and expect to win. But for the most part, they've been operating the way we expect the Josh Heupel offense to operate. They have. I mean, this is what you expect out of Josh Heupel's team. Now, the defense gives me some concern, scares me a little bit. I just don't know if Oklahoma's passing game is the one that can expose Tennessee to that level. And even if they can, Tennessee's going to get theirs, Bear. Tennessee's going to get theirs. They are going to score offensively. You're going to have to outscore the Vols in Knoxville. I do think this environment will make a difference. I think this environment will give John Mateer and this offense some trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't lead to an interception or a turnover. Obviously, I think penalties is going to be big in this game. False starts. I think this atmosphere could fluster Oklahoma just a bit. I think this is a back and forth, close, competitive game. I do think it's a bit of a coin flip game. There's so much on the line for both sides. But you're giving me the Vols, dark mode, Saturday night at Neyland. I just think that's going to be too much for Oklahoma to overcome. And I question, it's the same kind of school of thought as the Ole Miss game. I just don't know that this Oklahoma offense can keep up with what I feel confident Tennessee is going to do. Now, they say great defense beats great offense, but I'm going to have to see it. I'm going to have to see it. I trust Josh Heupel in this offensive attack against Oklahoma Saturday night. Give me Vols 34, Oklahoma 31. This is another spread I don't feel great about. You're giving me 3 and the hook. I might take Oklahoma with the hook. It's probably just a stay away from me. Love the over in this game. I do think points are going to be scored because, again, I think Oklahoma's going to be able to move the football against the Tennessee secondary that just can't really stop anybody, dead last in the conference in passing defense. So I think John Mateer is going to put up a really valiant effort. That Oklahoma offense, I agree with you. Ben Arbuckle's got to get in his bag. There will be no excuse for them not to score and score at a high rate and be able to go toe-to-toe with them. I just think Tennessee at home, finding a way in front of the home faithful, a game they've got to have for their college football playoff hopes. Is Tennessee a playoff team? I don't know. They might be 9-3, but I don't think their dreams end on Saturday night against the Sooners, 34-31. I think Tennessee finds a way to outlast Oklahoma.
God, I hate this pick. I don't know, because there's so many things that you like about this in a standpoint of Oklahoma, minus the fact that it's a road environment. Like, if this was a neutral site field, I'd actually feel very confident saying Oklahoma not only wins this game, they win this game soundly because I trust their defense. And if you're able to rattle a Joey Aguilar into making mistakes, and again, critical errors came back to bite Tennessee against Alabama. And the other thing that's really important here is that if you have the big time drops by your wide receivers, the way that you did against Alabama, it can just lead to a 3 and out. And at this point, all you have to do if you are Oklahoma is play keep away as long as possible and walk away with points. Like, it could be 3. At least it's 3. It puts you in a position to where you feel confident about the direction of your offense and of your team. So if that's the case, I could see a scenario where absolutely that factors on in. Joey Aguilar makes too many mental mistakes. He's not able to go ahead and build a good rapport with the passing attack. He tries to go for the home run ball. And unfortunately, it ends up being a little bit short. And there's Robert Spears-Jennings downfield in coverage to go ahead and make a play and run it back for a big 40-yard gain and puts Oklahoma's offense in the position where they can be successful. I can see that happening. I can also see a scenario where he plays lights out John Mateer plays lights out, but you're asking me, who do I trust more? I trust Joey Aguilar in this passing attack than I do Oklahoma's passing attack. The thing that's going to separate this game, in my opinion, is the fact that it's at Neyland and it's at night and it is dark mode. And I don't think that you can lose that type of game. As much as I can see a scenario where John Mateer plays elite level action and Ben Arbuckle shows you why he is the right guy for the job, I just don't see a scenario where this is how it happens. I mean, we're talking about it is a house of horrors in Neyland. It is a scary environment already. They go full on dark. And remember how the sound carries inside that stadium. There's no exit. It goes back down. The sheer toxicity of what we know about that stadium on a Saturday night, I think is going to rattle Oklahoma just a little bit too much. I think that's really what this comes down to. You play this game out in Norman this year, I think Oklahoma wins. You play this game out in a neutral field this year, I think Oklahoma wins. You play this game with a dark mode situation out in Neyland on a Saturday, I don't think Oklahoma can win this game. I don't feel confident in this pick, but at the same time, I think that there's enough to believe that Tennessee, what we have seen, if they don't shoot themselves in the foot, can still be in the hunt for the college football playoff, which is why I'm going to pick Tennessee to win. I'm going to pick Tennessee to cover. I'm going to go a little bit bigger. I'm going to go 35-28. I think it is a 7-point swing. Ultimately, you will see Joey Aguilar connect with one of his wide receivers for a 7-point differential that gets them the victory at Neyland.
Bear, I'll close in saying this. You know, we love our Oklahoma folks, our Oklahoma brethren that tune into us. And I say this not to be disrespectful, but I really just don't know if Oklahoma understands what they're walking into Saturday night. I really don't. I don't know if John Mateer really understands it. And if I'm wrong, so be it. But this atmosphere is just going to be different. I'm telling you, it's going to be different. It will be a serious tip of the cap if you're able to go in there and win this ball game. But I almost feel in my gut that this is one that I think Tennessee, it's more likely they win this game big than Oklahoma wins it outright. I really, truly. I think this thing on the road in the SEC and environment like that, it can get away from you fast. Not saying it will, but it can. So buckle up. It's going to be one hell of a night down in Knoxville. Again, Bear and I both going with the Vols to win this game. What do you say? You agree with us? You disagree? Tennessee or Oklahoma? Who comes out on top Saturday night in Knoxville? Guys, it's going to do all for us. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's got an offer you don't want to miss. This NFL season, new customers can bet just $5 and get 300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5. If it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets used all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel's got you covered. The NFL season's here. College basketball is getting underway. The World Series is taking place. NFL, obviously, in full swing. College football, of course. NBA, NHL, you name it, guys. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app and get started. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. Guys, once again, we appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us across all your favorite social media platforms and check out our website, SECUnfiltered.com. For Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. We're signing off. Appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you all on the other side.